Writing a grant is a lot like writing a short story. In short stories, every section must have a reason to be there and must be contained within a limited number of pages. You don't have a lot of room. So we're going to go through 8 guidelines for word choice, one by one, to help us gain a clear, direct style of writing. Words in grant should be precise, simple, necessary, and correct. The word whether can inflict doubt. Want to avoid the use of weak qualifying words such as hope or might. Want to avoid cliches and empty generalities, as well as the overuse of abbreviations. As USA Today says, it's not the most words, just the right words. Your words should be as precise as your science. Precise words evoke a mental image. Rabbit evokes much more of a mental image than animal does. Using specific, precise words increases clarity. Let's go over a few examples. Improve the word choice by changing the underlined words. Beta-HCG is a well-characterized molecule with a known regulation of expression over gestation. So what could we put here instead of molecule that would be more specific? Hormone. The short circuit current remained increased for several hours. What could we put here instead of several? Any number here would be better. Words in grant should be simple. The point here is that you have to use technical words in your proposal, and these tend to be big, fancy, and heavy. To keep your writing from being too heavy, choose simple words for the rest of the sentence. I'm not saying you need to simplify the science or dumb it down at all, but by using simpler words, it lets the reviewer focus on the science rather than on what you're trying to convey. In general, if an idea is simple, do not make it complex. If an idea is complex, write it as simply as possible. Let's simplify the following sentences by replacing the underlined words. The expression of these genes by motor neurons is evident prior to the formation of distinct motor axon pathways and before the segregation of motor neurons into columns. Before segregation is used at the end of the sentence, so before formation can be used at the beginning. It's a simple change, but these kind of changes add up quickly over the course of a grant. Prostaglandins are known to enhance nociceptive responses, and accordingly, indomethacin and aspirin have been shown to reduce pain. Increase pain. If the author is willing to say reduce pain at the end of the sentence, they should be willing to say increase pain, the simple opposite, at the beginning. Words in grant should be necessary. You want the reviewers to focus on your message. The more noise, the less message and space for the actual science. Try to use the fewest words possible that will still convey a very clear message. Removing repetitive text has the added bonus of saving space. So let's go over some examples where we'll remove repetitive text. After 4 hours of hemodialysis, we abruptly ended the hemodialysis procedure. So what could we eliminate here? You don't need to say hemodialysis twice. Oxygen uptake in response to drugs was examined and found to vary considerably. Oxygen uptake in response to drugs was found to vary considerably. Something else to keep in mind is to make certain that you use the correct word when there is a choice between two that are similar in spelling or meaning. How smoking affects the health versus we studied the effect of smoking. If you need to do so, consult a dictionary or style manual to make sure that you use the right one. Grant writing is not a closed note test. I still use dictionary.com all the time. And Grammarly is another free resource. Using the correct word can make a big difference in the clarity of your writing and, equally important, can influence how your attention to detail is perceived by a reviewer. Let's look at the first sentence here. This response was blocked by phentolamine, but was not by propranolol. You can substitute a synonym here. This response was blocked by phentolamine, but was not influenced by propranolol. Influenced works, it's affected. At frequent, we measured the pH, partial pressure of oxygen and carbon dioxide in arterial blood, and during each of study, we measured pulmonary blood flow 2 or 3 times. When interval is a pause or break in activity, like an intermission in a movie, A period is a length of time in a cycle, like morning period at school. So at frequent intervals, we measured these things, and during each period of study, we measured pulmonary blood flow 2 or 3 times. The word whether can create problems because it always means whether or something else, even when used alone. Usually it means whether or not. This can inadvertently cause doubt in the mind of a reviewer. We propose to investigate whether mirror visual feedback reduces arthritis pain. Here, it sounds like mirror visual feedback might not work at all. The next time you find yourself about to use whether, try the extent to which as a substitute. We propose to investigate the extent to which mirror visual feedback reduces arthritis pain. Avoid the use of weak qualifying words. Just like whether, these words also unnecessarily convey doubt in your ability to do something. By weak words, I mean ones like if we can do X, then we will be able to do Y. We will try to overcome the problem that is caused by X. In every one of these examples, the word expect could have been substituted. That is, we expect to obtain instead of we hope to obtain. Use of expect is a much more positive way of asserting confidence that you can do what you propose. Another example is, it is our conviction that we can. Both of these avoid the trap of guaranteeing an outcome as will would, but leave little doubt in your ability to get the job done. You also want to avoid the use of cliches and empty generalities. These are words and statements that look great at first, but when analyzed critically, convey little or nothing. For example, the proposed state-of-the-art research is expected to advance the field significantly. But what does the cliche state-of-the-art mean in an objective sense? What makes the research state-of-the-art? What does advance the field significantly mean? A phrase like this is meaningless to a reviewer unless additional explanatory detail follows. Being specific and concrete is really important for good grant writing. Specificity and precision build credibility with reviewers. Meaningless cliches and empty generalities almost always do the opposite. Abbreviations are deceptive. They make reading easier if you know them already. If the abbreviations are new to you, they make reading a chore. Since your readers may not recognize the abbreviations, you should keep them to a minimum. The usual reason for using an abbreviation is to replace a term that is too long or unwieldy and that appears a great many times in the grant. Heart rate is not long or unwieldy. Norepinephrine is not long or unwieldy. 5 times is not that many. If an abbreviation appears only 5 or 10 times in a grant, some readers have to keep looking up its meaning, which hinders reading. An abbreviation should be used often enough that the reader does not forget the meaning. One exception is that a very long term, like a chemical compound, can be abbreviated, even if it's used only once or twice more in the grant, preferably within the same paragraph. Another exception is an abbreviation that is more familiar to the readers of the grant than is the term the abbreviation stands for, like DNA. Those may be used freely. Instead of an abbreviation, sometimes one word from a long term can be used. For example, isometric hand grip exercise can be called exercise instead of IHE, a non-standard abbreviation, if only one type of exercise is mentioned in the grant. To avoid things like group A and group B, try to use a characteristic to name the group instead. For example, the hypotensive group. It's clearer and easier for them to know who you're talking about, instead of them thinking, who is group A again? To summarize, words in grant should be precise, simple, necessary, and correct. The word whether can inflict doubt. We want to avoid the use of weak qualifying words, cliches, empty generalities, and the overuse of abbreviations. So now let's go through the first set of exercises in your packet. This is the one labeled Principles of Word Choice. Feel free to use your smartphones or computers to look up word meanings. And once you've gone through them, you can check your responses against the answers provided. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me.